There's a $9 billion industry that depends on you never learning this. Every spring, as the soil warms and the first tender shoots break through, 80% of American households walk into garden centers and buy bottles of poison. Bright yellow caps, pump sprayers, granular dusts. We load them into carts alongside the tomato seedlings and petunias, not thinking twice. The pest comes, we spray. It comes back, we spray again. Stronger stuff this time. The corporations collect another $3 billion a year from people just trying to grow tomatoes, people who never stop to ask why the cycle never ends. 300 miles west of Manhattan, past the turnpikes and strip malls, past the places where cell service drops and the sky opens up, there's a community of over 44,000 people who haven't bought a single bottle of pesticide in 3 centuries. No Roundup, no Sevin Dust, no neem oil from Amazon. Their gardens don't just survive, they thrive. Walk through Lancaster County in August, and you'll see tomato plants so heavy with fruit they have to be staked twice. Squash vines running clean and green down the rows, not a speck of powdery mildew. Pepper plants loaded with fruit, every leaf unblemished. Their pest damage is a fraction of ours, not because they have fewer bugs, but because the bugs aren't a problem. I stood in one of those gardens last summer, a place called Honeybrook, staring at pepper plants absolutely covered in fruit without a single aphid on the undersides of the leaves, not one. The woman showing me around was named Miriam, 67 years old, gardening the same ground her great-great-grandfather broke with a team of mules. She wasn't doing anything I could see. No sprays, no powders, just healthy plants growing in healthy soil. And I thought, standing there in the heat with sweat running down my back, what did they figure out that the rest of us are still paying to avoid learning? Here it is. In 2004, an Amish kid named John Kemp watched his family lose 70% of their crops 3 years in a row despite using every pesticide available. They sprayed, they dusted, they followed the label directions exactly. The bugs kept coming, the diseases kept spreading. Finally, out of something close to desperation, they rented a neighboring field that had never been sprayed, a piece of ground that had been in pasture for decades, never tilled, never treated. Planted the same cantaloupe across both fields, same seed, same day, same fertilizer from the same bag. On the sprayed soil, the field they'd owned for generations, 80% of the leaves were covered in disease within a month, powdery mildew, downy mildew. The plants looked terrible. On the untreated soil, the rented pasture that had never seen a chemical, zero infection. Identical plants 2 feet apart, separated only by a property line. One destroyed, one perfect. Kemp spent 2 years in a public library reading university textbooks, agricultural journals, entomology papers, soil science bulletins. He wasn't trained as a scientist. He was just a kid who needed to know why. What he found rewrites everything you think you know about bugs. Plants have an immune system, a literal one. When a plant gets the right minerals from healthy soil, not just nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, but the full spectrum of trace elements, it converts its nitrogen into complete proteins. Here's the part that matters. Caterpillars, aphids, hornworms, they cannot digest complete proteins. Their guts are too simple, too specialized. They're designed to process the incomplete proteins that stressed, malnourished plants produce. A caterpillar lands on a healthy plant, takes a bite, gets nothing they can use, and leaves. The plant didn't fight them. It didn't repel them. It didn't produce toxins or spines or sticky resins. It simply removed their food source at the cellular level. The pest starves in the presence of abundance. Within 48 hours of getting the right nutrition, the right minerals from living soil, a plant can go from pest magnet to pest-proof. That's the first secret. The soil is the plant's immune system. Weak soil grows weak plants. Weak plants are a dinner invitation lit up like a Denny's sign at 2 a.m. Here's the second secret. Most pests find your plants by smell. They follow chemical signals like a GPS, locking on to the volatile compounds that stressed plants release. The Amish plant aromatic herbs directly among their vegetables, not in separate beds, not in containers on the patio, but right in the middle of everything. basil next to tomatoes, dill between cabbages, marigolds around the borders. This creates what scientists call olfactory confusion. The pest literally cannot find your tomatoes because the basil is drowning out the signal. It's like trying to hear a whisper in a stadium. The pest flies right over your garden, catches a whiff of something that isn't its host plant, and moves on. Third secret: a healthy garden doesn't have no insects. It has the right insects. One ladybug eats 50 aphids a day. One lacewing larvae eats 200. Parasitic wasps, tiny things you'd never notice, lay eggs inside hornworms and kill them from the inside out, the larvae emerging like something from a sci-fi movie. The Amish plant flowers that bloom all season just to keep these soldiers employed. They leave small areas wild, a patch of clover, a pile of stones, a strip of unmowed grass, because every beneficial insect needs a place to live, to overwinter, to reproduce. If your garden is perfectly manicured with bare soil between rows, you've hung a no vacancy sign on your own pest control team. You've evicted the very creatures that would do the work for free. Fourth secret: the morning walk. Every day, 15 minutes, as soon as the dew dries. Turn over leaves, check undersides, look at the growing tips. When you find a pest, a cluster of aphids, a hornworm, a squash bug, pick it off and drop it in soapy water. 2 hornworms on Monday becomes 0 hornworms instead of 20 by Friday. Most disasters don't happen because of one bug. They happen because a small population exploded while you weren't looking. The morning walk is surveillance. It's early intervention. It's the difference between a problem and a catastrophe. Fifth secret: trap cropping. Plant something the pest loves more than your main crop. Nasturtiums around the edges of the bean patch. Aphids will cluster there, covering the leaves, and leave your beans alone entirely. Radishes planted in front of your eggplants. Flea beetles prefer the radish leaves, will skeletonize them while the eggplants grow untouched. Blue Hubbard squash planted at the edge of the cucumber patch. Cucumber beetles will flock to it, and you can pull the whole plant when it's covered. You're not fighting nature, you're redirecting it. You're giving the pest what it wants somewhere else. Sixth secret: the cardboard collar. Old toilet paper rolls around the base of transplants pushed an inch into the soil. Cutworms crawl at night and chew through tender stems at ground level. The collar stops them cold. They can't climb it, can't get around it. In 4 to 6 weeks, the cardboard breaks down naturally, softened by rain and soil microbes. That's exactly when the stem has hardened enough that cutworms can't bite it anymore. Protection when needed, gone when not. Cost? 0. Here's what the Amish understand that the chemical companies pray you never will. You don't beat pests by killing them. You beat them by building a garden they cannot live in. When you spray, you kill the ladybugs, the lacewings, the parasitic wasps that were working for free. You wipe out the predators, and the pests, which reproduce faster, which have shorter life cycles, which were born resistant to half the chemicals you're using, come back worse than before. You destroyed the army defending you and wonder why the enemy keeps winning. The Amish don't fight nature. They set the table and let nature eat. Build the soil with compost and minerals and living roots. Plant companions that confuse and repel. Create habitat for the predators. Walk every morning, paying attention. Use trap crops as decoys, cardboard collars as barriers. That's the system. It's not complicated. It's not expensive. It's worked on the same land for the same families for 300 years. Try it this season. Build your soil, real soil, with organic matter and life in it. Plant basil next to your tomatoes. Leave a patch of clover at the edge of the garden. Walk your rows in the morning with a jar of soapy water. And when you watch a ladybug devour 50 aphids in one afternoon, working right in front of you, free of charge, you'll wonder why anyone ever convinced us there was a better way inside a bottle. So here's my question for you. After hearing all of this, after learning about soil immunity and olfactory confusion and the army of beneficial insects that could be working in your garden for free, what's the one thing you're going to try this season? Are you planting basil next to your tomatoes? Leaving a patch of clover wild at the edge of your garden? Starting a morning walk routine with a jar of soapy water? Or maybe you've already tried some of these methods. Maybe you're further down this road than I am. If so, drop it in the comments. Tell us what worked. Tell us what failed. Tell us what surprised you. Because the truth is, I'm still learning too. Every season teaches something new. And the best information doesn't come from experts or textbooks. It comes from people like you, actually out there with your hands in the soil, figuring it out in real time. If this video planted a seed, if it changed the way you think about pests or soil or what a garden can be, hit that like button and subscribe to Everyday Harvest. It helps more than you know. It tells YouTube that this conversation matters, that people are hungry for something different than another video about which poison to buy. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and then go outside. Walk your garden in the morning, build your soil, plant something for the ladybugs. I'll see you in the comments.